Welcome back to Without a Doubt, the podcast. A podcast where we celebrate living life authentically and organically as ourselves. We're the ones who believe in creating our own paths and living our truths out loud. Join in on an open and honest conversation about self-discovery and growth. I'm your girl Mad, your host, and at this point, your favorite sprinkle of reality. At least I hope so. I'm here to remind you that it's okay to do life different and that you don't have to be what is expected of you. That your happiness, it matters. And yes, even us baddies who know this about ourselves need this reminder too. This is officially episode 9. Yay, yay, yay. I'm super excited. And this one is just solo me. I know you guys are really loving these guest episodes, and I just want to remind you, if you've got more ideas, send them my way, drop a DM, send me an email at itsyourgirlmad. If you have my personal IG phone number, if you have topics that maybe you want to hear and I want to maybe talk about it, I'm not promising you that I will, but I will definitely try. I'm running through this podcast. I'm moving through the end of the year. There's a lot of stuff going on in this world. And I'm starting to get wrapped up in my thoughts of like, how is it already at the end of the year? There's only 2 months left. I'm recording this basically almost the last week of October. How am I going to close out this year strong? How am I going to close out this year financially strong like I wanted? I spiral into all these struggles as a creative with my multiple incomes. And then I find myself like at a real low because I may not be exactly where I want to be. And I think like a lot of people, maybe you feel this way too. I am literally doing everything. The burnout is fucking real. And it's not just in the creative capacity, but it's almost even my self-confidence cup is kind of like running low. I run a small business that resells secondhand clothes, vintage, modern, and it's all pretty much through eBay and Poshmark. But I also have this podcast. And up until recently, I was a content manager for a local shop. I was personal training and I was getting paid for content creation. And no matter what I was doing, no matter what I'm doing now, I still feel like it's just not enough. I know if before you're like Madison, you need to pour into yourself, give yourself some rest, give yourself a little bit of grace. The reality is like that I just feel guilty for not working, especially when I know I could be pouring more into making money, and it definitely leads to burnout. And it's more than just putting one foot in front of the other, but the burnout creeps into seriously every aspect of my life. You might own a small business, or maybe you're doing other things, and maybe you feel like me, maybe more than myself needed these reminders to be heard. So I think this is why I'm making this podcast about entrepreneurial struggles and creative burnout and how it really does fucking affect your confidence. Being an entrepreneur is so challenging, and it's due to a ton of reasons. If you're an entrepreneur, you might know this, and don't come at me for how I say entrepreneur. I don't say it correctly, just like theater. I don't know. Everyone says I say it wrong. But anyway, let's get into number 1 on why I feel like we face the biggest challenges as small business owners or creatives. You never have certainty. It's uncertainty regarding your success, whatever idea, like, is it gonna work? It leads to stress, it leads to anxiety. For me, true to this, I've been like wanting to do something new. I do sell vintage shit and I love it. I love finding it. But I've been recently thinking about going into like the market world, like the flea market world, small business market world. And I kind of want to do that just because I like setting up a booth and I like working little things, but I also have like this little outlet where I've been painting things and I'm like, maybe I should set up a tent and sell my art. And then I'm like, okay, no one's going to buy my shit. I've been teetering these ideas. Like 4 people will heart my art on my story and nobody else just scrolls on by. So of course my self-doubt gets to me, but I'm tired. I think the creative in me just like wants to keep making art and sharing it with the world, but then is this inspiration always going to be here? Am I going to make money doing this? Am I even going to have fucking time to do it all? And I think like these are a lot of the things that us creatives and small business owners find in the uncertainty world, even with the self-doubt. Also, financial constraints. Starting and running a business costs money. You've got to invest. You got to secure some funding or manage your own cash flow. Figure that out. Deal with the financial risk. You might lose money. And a lot of times you're investing your own time, and time is money. You heard me say that earlier, right? I get really frustrated when I'm not seeing what I want fast enough. I start to feel like a failure. I like to say I'm a microwave. I'm not a crock pot girl. I'm not a low and slow. I like shit done fast. I'm a microwave girl. Put it in, get me the results, and let's get going. And I think a lot of times when I'm not seeing what I want fast enough, I truly start to feel like I'm just not getting there. My self-confidence, my self-belief, it's like, what am I even doing? And what is this worth putting out for people to hear? Or is this worth showing or painting or even reselling? Sometimes I'm like, nobody wants to buy my shit. I go back and I really start asking myself if I really want to go back to a normal job. And this happens a lot just because of financial things. I've struggled more in this year of 2023 with my finances than probably any year. And last year I was really working hard on fixing it, but I don't know if it's due to inflation or whatever everyone wants to. I do not live the rich and luxury life. I don't live blowing money out of my pockets, but when you own a small business, I am constantly financially putting money into my business. And I think when you do that, financial risks are 100% there. I have lost money in some businesses. I have spent money selling shampoo. I lost a lot of money doing that because I was buying it. I was going on these trips and things like that. That was another business that I did. Financial constraints, it was stressful. I'm always pivoting because I just really want to find something that's going to make my life less stressful. But I almost feel like that's kind of like a double-edged sword in the small business world, so you might understand what I'm saying. If not, just keep rolling with number 3. We're going into this work-life balance. I find that I work really strange hours, sometimes long hours, and I face the pressure like constantly of managing a ton of responsibilities, balancing my personal life and running these small businesses. I have a few, by the way. It's not just that, but then being the creative. I think that we're always trying to think of new ways to bring things to life, which is like we're always turning our fucking wheels and the minds are always go, go, go. That is so exhausting. It's like you want to try to rest and you're chilling with your family and then something sparks some inspiration and you start like putting down your notes and then you just can't stop. At least that's kind of how I am. It's really a challenge, and I almost had to like start creating other ways to do this, and we're going to talk more about this later on, how to face these burnout challenges and confidence challenges throughout this as being a creative or a small business owner, because I am both, right? Number 4, let's get into it. Like, are you like me and you are literally a decision maker? If you own a small business, if you're constantly putting out content, you are responsible for making all of the decisions for your sponsorships, whatever, your business's success, and that's really overwhelming. And when you're, once again, not doing the work and you're not finding the success maybe, you start to question everything you do, including if you're meant to be doing that. You have to be confident, you have to be ready to take risks, and you have to know that you can fail. And undoubtedly, you have to know that you're going to find a solution when you do fail. If you think about adapting, I think adapting is another good one. You have to kind of be like a chameleon, cool, calm, and slowly just fading into the background. This is something I'm trying to do more as the ever-changing business is happening. Like, you've got to be in the loop with the trends if you want your business to keep growing, but you've got to be able to like change like the chameleon and not stress about it. Be able to pivot, be able to find the newest, greatest thing and make it work for your business. And I know how hard this gets and exhausting, because it's like as soon as you think you are where you need to be, there is something new to learn. And then that leads me right into number 7, loneliness. The loneliness. I don't know why I felt the need to sing that, like if I was going to create a song, but it's really the hardest part in this business, especially in the early stages. Entrepreneurs you might lack support and network, and you might face isolation, and that's going to affect your motivation, your inspiration, and your damn mental well-being. I know it for a fact. For me, this holds the most truth. It's because in this world with social media, it is so easy to see other people succeeding and bragging and boasting, but you don't know if those are actual real results. You know that, right? And it might not be happening for you, but only you know what's happening on the back end. Are you getting sales? Are you getting customers? Are you getting listens? Are you getting what you aimed for? And if people are coming in and they are following in, it might be slow. You don't need a stream rush to be successful. A trickle will lead you down a road of success if you keep that consistency, and I promise you that. Just keep doing the work. You might feel like you want to quit. I know this. I talked about this on my last episode, but in the moments of small business and creative journey, if your heart is in it, if you want it, you're going to keep going, and you're going to just dig a little deeper, and you're going to keep doing the work. I know it. Even if you're lonely, find one friend, and that will keep you more in the journey. It did for me. I once again have to shout out my girl, Emily. She has got kind of different goals, but inspires me so often, and easy to quit and do things. But if somebody's reminding you, like, thank you for putting that out. I love this. You might just keep doing it, and that might only take one person. And that is exactly why I created this podcast. We're all humans, and my goal is to make you feel that this experience is universal and it's not as lonely like I feel a lot of times in my small business creative journey. Anyway, I also think that I like to clap and celebrate the small wins when I'm feeling alone in my journey, which is a constant up and down push and pull for me in this bubble of being a creative. While running a small business and wanting to do more and more, I find myself loving more and more of myself when I am doing the work and doing the hard things despite the outcome. Even if I'm not getting the answers I want, sometimes just knowing that I published something feels so good. And I think we are so focused on validation from friends, family, listeners, likes, this, that. That's a social media thing. But at the end of the day, that is what's going to lead you to burnout. Like constantly wanting or needing a validation. But if you're putting out things and your end goal is just like you're just producing and then executing, you will find a lot more happiness in your heart. Creative burnout is a creative struggle that I think almost every single person deals with, not just creatives. Everybody is basically a creative, but in your own way. And it does occur mostly when you're doing creative work, making new ideas, meeting deadlines. If you're a content creator, maintaining, your high quality, trying to get that next virality video, just constantly trying to meet where you were the last time. I know it gets exhausting. I'm going to share a few things that you can do to avoid this burnout and keep your cup overfloweth. First of all, let's drop the high expectations. First of all, you're not going to get billions of likes on every single thing. Creatives set these high standards for themselves. I think a lot of times if you're in any kind, most people strive for perfection, or maybe you're more on the, I don't think I strive for perfection more so than, I like to call myself like a B+ student. I like to have great work, but I'm not a perfectionist. I like to make sure that I'm putting out something that is great. And you might be like, Madison, this podcast does need work. Yes, girl, I know. But I'm working on it, I'm learning, and I'm doing it. You can't be great at everything right when you start. And along the way, this podcast will get better. So if you're here at episode 9, I hope you're still tuning into episode 20. And when you get there, you better be like, damn, Madison, this is bomb ass. It's even better than I expected it to be. And if you're not, you know what? I'm going to be clapping for myself because I'm at episode 20 and I'm still doing this shit. It is so easy to feel like crap because you're not seeing what you want. You're not getting the listens, like I said. But you need to start practicing some self-compassion, bro. That's what I do. I really try to practice some self-compassion, like being kind to yourself. Acknowledge your accomplishments. Accept your creative work is going to have ups, downs. Some videos are going to do good. Some videos aren't going to do. Some podcasts are going to crush. And just get rid of that self-imposed pressure. You don't need to do it to yourself. Let's make and take some real breaks. You might even find yourself working long hours, like I said before, and sacrificing breaks. I know I do this. That includes skipping meals and not nourishing my mind or my body. But if you're really looking to do this in the long term, you have to set out and build a realistic routine to get out of your mind and into the world. And this is actually going to help spark inspiration. Engaging in activities that are unrelated to work can provide a very fresh perspective. And for me, this is like going to hot yoga. I usually leave there feeling like some type of way that I put into my confidence cup when I go to hot yoga. So going to hot yoga is just my example. Maybe for you, that's going for a run. Maybe that means laying down and reading a book. Maybe that's taking a walk and going for a hike, which I also love to do. But going out sometimes is going to actually give you a glimmer of something a little new that's not already floating around in your creative space. I truly believe the breaks are important. I love them, I need them, and I'm working really hard at getting better at these. Also, creating boundaries, I know. These are really hard. Create them, make them, and stick to your fucking boundaries. Because if you do that, you are going to feel so much better about whatever you're doing. I don't know about you, but when I was teaching, I like, even a lot of times I feel like I have to be on. Like, air quote, on. You might feel that way too. People think I'm this loudmouth, chatty, outgoing girl all the time, but if you really get to know me, I'm kind of like, I can sit around and be quiet and not have to talk and just be a pile of mush. That is me. I am the girl that just needs some downtime and silence, and I need to recharge that way. So if that's you too, I encourage you to do that. It's hard, I get it, and I'm still working on it, but there's a couple of things within like this boundary thing that also works, and for me that's time blocking, where I like to write down a set time and what I'm doing in that time. And then when the time is up, I move on to the next thing. That is bomb ass for me in working through my own boundaries and making sure I want to get things done. It helps me with time interference. So do what you got to do. Let's stop the self-doubt. Doubting your ability is just not going to do anything for you. Feeling insecure about your creative work is going to drain you. And constantly seeking validation or comparing oneself to others is going to definitely burn you out. I promise you, from my own experience, that putting this to the side and putting one foot in front of the other feels a lot better. This podcast is the prime example. I do not have any sponsors yet. I basically pay to put this podcast out every week. Yes, out of my own pocket for the editing software, the hosting, and all of the things. But as soon as I told myself somebody, maybe one person would benefit, I decided to do the damn thing. And those messages did validate me. The messages that I needed to hear that. Those I needed to hear that validated me to keep going. But I didn't do it just for validation. I wanted to prove to myself that I got this shit. And that I don't just talk the talk, I do walk the walk. Setting your realistic goals, for me, is so crazy important. You can set achievable goals and break them down into into smaller projects and smaller tasks to get to the big end goal. That is going to help you reduce stress. I just think having realistic goals. Don't sit here and say I want to have 1 million subscribers in 1 week, because bro, that could happen, but that's some crazy luck. Or you bought them. Anyway, and we need to make sure we're seeking support and community. This is going to help you. Once again, I told you I'm not the community girl, but if you can connect with other creatives, join groups, and find feedback that's going to actually push you forward, maybe even get your wheels turning, that's going to help you realize okay, I'm not the only person that sees this. Same. Doesn't that feel good when someone's same? I know. It's going to help you get through those feelings of isolation. And this is actually another hard thing for me, is because I'm not the community girl. I don't like to share my failures. I don't like to even share a lot of the things that I'm succeeding at. And if you're a fellow creative looking for that accountability, do me a favor. I need a buddy as well. So shoot me a DM or send me a email at itsyourgirlmad@gmail.com. I'm here to build this community, and I would love to do it with you. Remember, creative burnout is a common experience, and it's also to prioritize self-care and seek support when you need to. So as tough as it's going to be to just keep going, if you're a creative or a small business owner, you're going to need to keep being open-minded, keep being that moneymaker, and keep building your business. Us humans need to know that it is important for everybody to find support, stay resilient, and continue to learn from your experience. These challenges are what's going to make you strong. Like I've said a few episodes, just keep adding a notch into your confidence belt. No one said it was easy. And if it was, every single person would be doing the same exact thing you are. If you really want it bad enough, feel that passion in your bones, or you want to share your light and art with the world, go for it. Do it. We have to keep working on your confidence, and the only way to do that is to literally put out and trudge on and keep living out your truest version of you. Just a reminder of all of this, because I think I needed it too. I love you so much. Thanks for being here. This whole entire video is also on YouTube, so check it out there. I love you. I'm so glad that I'm here. Next episode is going to be number 10, and I actually have my friend Sam King coming on. We're going to be talking about bodybuilding and confidence and all of those things that come along with that. So I can't wait for that. She's a friggin' character. Without a doubt, you are a badass. Don't you forget it. It's your girl Mad, and I am signing off. See you on episode 10. Bye.